Well, it's been so long since I've done this podcast, I'd forgotten my password. Anyway, we're back on schedule. So, Diaries of a Nobody, as per, and really just, chilling a bit today, trying to chill a bit today after an incredibly busy couple of weeks. I was bombarded with problems for my business. I've really had to focus on that. And as Elderescence is a bit of a luxury for me, it's one of those things that I do because it makes me feel better rather than there's any money in it. So because of that, it obviously had to go to the bottom of the pile, sadly. But anyway, we've got a new website, new blog, new this, new that, and it's all coming together finally. And there's going to be a YouTube channel devoted to, well, no, actually not a channel, guys, not a channel. You don't need a channel on YouTube, you need a playlist. So basically you create a playlist and you put all the relevant videos that you do into that, and then everyone can find you. Do you see what I mean? If you've got a channel with thousands of videos on, people struggle a bit, and which of course I have because of all the music. Because essentially, that's the business, is the music, and of course the writing, which I haven't really done. But today, guess what, guys? I'm writing for the second episode for Betrayal Protocol, which is my steamy spy stroke romance thriller stroke crime. Get all the genres in. And because it's an online series, I mean, you can kind of ebb and flow a bit. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just about to go and get coffee 3 and sit down and do the next installment of that. And what I've decided to do is I'm going to read little clips of it for shorts on Elderescence in order, so, one after the other as the actual book goes, if you see what I mean. That was a terrible way of describing it. Sorry about that. So that you can actually just sit and listen to the shorts. If you wanted to, you could just, I'll put them all in a playlist as well. So it'll be the Betrayal Protocol shorts list, and they will work one after the other, but you'll need to listen to them one after the other. I thought it's absolutely thrilling, isn't it? In fact, I can do the first chapter now. So I'll do the first chapter in a minute. What else has been happening? Well, I was off to my old school Frensham Heights, my reunion on Saturday. Well, it was Founders' Day. So hooked up with some old partners in crime, which was really, really lovely. Met some lovely new people as well who were there a bit before me or a bit after me. But, there's a whole bunch of us oldies. And it just felt really, really nice. It was really interesting to see what people had done, and how they'd sort of progressed through the school if I wasn't there, and what they thought of things, and what they did with their lives. I mean, really interesting things. And I just thought, no, do you know what? It's a lovely bunch of people, and we share a common ethos. Frensham Heights, if you don't know, it's a public school. It's very, very big on the arts, and everybody was very, very arty because it sticks with you, that stuff. The importance of having a child and sending them to a school where their skills are focused on, can't be overestimated, really. Having said that, I'm pretty sure if I'd gone to an academic school, I would have, I wasn't stupid. I'm still not stupid, but I might have been better at some of the more academic things and ended up being a lawyer. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because would you have liked to have been a lawyer if you weren't one? I suppose lots of people do have these kind of regretting fantasies, don't they? Think, oh, well, it would have been so nice if I'd been a doctor. But, I was never going to be a doctor because I hate blood and I hate needles. I'm incredibly squeamish. I mean, I can't deal with a spot, so, let alone cutting people open. So that was never in the offing. Sometimes I think I could have been, I could have gone into government. But I'd already started misbehaving at 11. I mean, I didn't get expelled or anything. I could have towed the party line a bit, and been completely different, because I can pretend to be an extrovert. I certainly could have done something that would have made more money. I read the other day that it's much cheaper to buy women's art. I mean, obviously I knew that. Well, I didn't actually. No, I didn't, because when I think of women's art, I think of Frida Kahlo, and I think of the value of their work and how incredible it is, and how much. I think a piece of Frida Kahlo's work went for an awful lot of money quite recently. So I sort of think positively rather than negatively. But I saw an article. I couldn't read it because I had to pay for it. So it would have been the Times or the Telegraph or something. And it was a chap who'd put on an exhibition, and he said it was so cheap because he bought women's art. He curated a collection or something. And I thought, oh God, that's so depressing, isn't it? I thought, I need to give up art, really. I need to stop doing it. Other than for my own pleasure. You know, it's a total waste of time. If you're a woman and you're an artist, give up now. I learned a very long time ago that if there are ceilings you can't penetrate, don't waste your time on them. Find one you can. That would be my business advice. Because what you end up doing is flogging a dead bloody horse, and you're constantly fighting against the tide, and it's exhausting. It's really exhausting. And you're much better off going somewhere with inlets for women. And there is why people do OnlyFans, isn't it? Because there are no barriers in OnlyFans. I mean, the only barrier for being a porn star or an OnlyFans entertainer is your conscience. Oh no, not your conscience, because it's not immoral in my opinion. But your self-esteem, I guess, because, I've done performance-related stuff on OnlyFans before as a dominatrix, and you have to be proud of it and love your job. And if you're packing up at the end of the night, I mean, that's when I stopped. I did it for a bit, and then I thought, no, I haven't really got you've got to be gutsy to do that. But there are no barriers. There are no barriers to finance anyway. There isn't. I mean, you've got to pay the owner a percentage. I think, is it 20% or something? And he is a man, but he's not closing the doors on you. See what I'm saying? And there are other things. You can do very well. I mean, you can do well in politics actually to a certain degree. Until you. I mean, now especially we've got Black and Asian women ministers in this country. We didn't see that in the 70s. I would never have thought there'd be an Asian heritage prime minister in this country, because the racism in this country does actually run quite deep. You've only got to watch the football to know that. Talking of which, I watched the football last night in England. It was just so stressful, wasn't it? That bloody match. I mean, I'd arrived and Mum said, "Oh, I'm watching the football." I thought, "Oh God, no, really?" Because I hadn't taken my phone or anything to do. We turned the volume down, and then Mum got up to make a cup of tea, and we assumed we'd lost. And then they scored that extra goal. Well, no, it was a draw, wasn't it? And then they scored that extra goal at the end, and it was just pretty excellent, actually. But yeah, you've only got to see how the audience, the crowd, treat black players to understand that British racism does run very deep. And somebody actually said to me the other day that Rishi Sunak wouldn't get in again because he was Asian, of Asian heritage, because of course he got in last time because Boris Johnson was fired effectively. So he wasn't voted in by the people. Now, I don't know if that's true. I think it's a bit horrible if it is. But I mean, let's not get into politics, because I don't particularly like what they've... I don't like... Do you know what I don't like about the Conservatives? I don't like how they pay each other jobs for the boys, all that, and how they made so much money out of COVID. They really did. It's horrible. It's very corrupt, I feel. So that's why they wouldn't get my vote. But I don't much like Keir Starmer, if I'm honest. He's a wet blanket. And I don't agree with men with penises using my loos when they put a dress on. I don't agree with that. I'm with J.K. Rowling on this. Now, we all have our right to our opinions, and I think there should be a third option. How or do up the well, you don't have to do them up, do you? They can use as disabled, so you could say disabled and trans people, or or people who don't identify, or spares, or whatever you want to call them. But then of course what would happen is you'd have on the door well, you couldn't put trans and disabled because it suggests that trans is a disability. And funny enough, it's not a disability, but trans people are demanding the rights that disabled people are demanding, to be treated equally. But they wouldn't want to share a loo with them, would they? See what I mean? Everybody's got their own bigotry. Everybody. Anyway, I'm digressing there. So as a woman who is going to be 62 tomorrow, I'm entirely allowed to have my own opinions and to voice them. And that's what I'm going to do on Elderescence. That's the whole purpose of Elderescence. And of course, reviews of my shopping. So I've got tons of reviews to do this week, but I'm just going to kind of casually do them while I'm waiting for the kettle to boil and stuff like that. They're all shorts, and they'll be on my main Telltale Club site in a podcast, in a playlist rather, called Elderescence. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? I think that's it, guys. I'd really love just so much to play a piece of music now, but I can't because we're not allowed to put music on this channel. If you want to hear my music, I did a new one the other day. It's a bit experimental though. It's a bit arty. I was watching Yoko Ono yesterday doing something to Freak. I mean, it didn't sound anything like Freak. I love that woman. I think she's very cool. And I loved it was performance art, and she just screamed and hollered nonsensically into a microphone. I did have to turn it down a bit. And I just thought, well, the balls to do that. The balls. And the thing is, because she's Yoko Ono, people watched. I mean, if I started doing that, people would just leave. They'd hold their ears and they'd call the police. But she got away with it. Well, she's this lovely little woman with her shades on. She's a perfect form. Absolutely brilliant, I thought. But yeah, I couldn't watch the whole thing. Anyway, I can see a picture of Rishi Sunak lying in bed smiling. I think these are the AI fake account, the sort of anti-vote footage that's going up. There's tons of it. And they're actually, some of them are very believable. And when they put them on a big screen, when their mouths are moving to say these ridiculous things, you can see that, somebody's fiddled around with the mouth. But when you see it on a small screen, you can't tell that. So be careful what you listen to. Be careful what you consume. My daughter said that to me the other day. Be careful what you consume. It can cause depression. Right, I'm going to get on with my day. So I'll see you in a bit. I'll hear you in a bit. I'll see you in a bit over at Elderescence on YouTube. And I'll hear you a bit on more podcasts all day long.